I see. I love this song, Wishing on a Star. You know who sings this song? Can you hear it? Can you hear the song? You want some? I don't know, you may not be able to see the album cover. Rolls Royce. Remember that group Rolls Royce? Man, they had some hits. But I love Wishing on a Star. So, hey, everybody, welcome to Wellness Wednesday. I hope you guys are having a great week so far. It's hump day, so, middle of the week. Man, it's been an exciting week so far for me. Thanks. Last week was fantastic. Last week, Wellness Wednesday, we did not have Little Twin because Little Twin, Little Twin who runs the whole show, he was studying. He had a test, so I had to do it by myself. And you guys did a great job of lifting the spirits based on what happened in Boulder, Colorado, about a week ago. So over a week ago. So that was good. Now this week we got a special guest. Man, oh man! I tell you what, I'm excited to get this guy on here. It's gonna be fun. He's a fitness professional, health and fitness professional. A lot of information, wisdom, but it's practical too. That's what I like about it. So I'm gonna bring him on here. I want to make sure you guys had any questions for me first, though, before I get my guy on here and we start talking about a little health and fitness. It's gonna be great. So anyway, let me see. You got any questions for me? You got this draft coming up. Been working diligently on that. It's getting exciting already. You had the Dolphins make a couple of moves, a couple of trades. Did a big trade with San Fran, and then we had Wednesday. We had 2 pro days yesterday. I mean, we had a couple of pro days. We had 2 big ones yesterday with Ohio State had their pro day with Justin Fields, and obviously Alabama had their second pro day. And Mac Jones was out there throwing the ball and everything. So let me see. Let me toss a question out there for you guys. If you're, say if you're San Fran, and you got the number 3 pick, and you may be moving on from Garoppolo, who would you select? Who would you select at the number 3 spot if you're San Fran, huh? Yeah. Who would you select and why? Which quarterback would it be and why? And I thought that we would be having a more joyful, I don't want to say what, I guess a more joyful introduction to Wellness Wednesday based on what I thought would happen last night with the Wolverines. But Michigan went down to the Bruins of UCLA. 2-point loss. Heartbreaker. Came down to the final shot. A lot of credit to UCLA for fighting. They just punched their ticket to get, I think, probably run out of the gym by Gonzaga. But, it's going to be interesting. We'll see what happens. But, Juwan Howard and his staff, I said repeatedly, put the team in position to win that game. Guys just didn't execute. They didn't execute. And I was watching Deion Sanders about a week and a half ago, and he made a comment about everybody want to beat that dude. So it's time to be that dude. And, couldn't get it done. They didn't get it done. Had the opportunities, repeated, over and over again, multiple chances to either tie or win the game, and came up short. Had a fantastic season though, but that was a game that they know they should have, they could have won it, and it was a tough one, but they bounced back. Juwan and his staff, they're gonna be good. And yeah, tough loss, but based on what I've seen from Gonzaga and what I've seen from UCLA, yeah, that might get ugly. That one might get ugly. We'll see, but anything can happen. So congratulations to the Bruins. You've been on a magical March Madness. I mean, so congrats to them. Somebody asked, did I ever consider going to Notre Dame? I'll take one more question before we get my man here because I don't want him waiting too long. I'm excited about this live. We'll get some tough questions. Did I ever consider going to Notre Dame? Notre Dame was on the radar. Notre Dame was obviously one of the better programs in the nation when I was coming out of high school, and Notre Dame was definitely on the radar. Someone said, do you pick Jamar Chase, the wide receiver from LSU, or Devontae Smith, the wideout from Alabama? Whew, I tell you what, man, Chase just made himself some more money. I don't know if you guys watched, but Chase, LSU had a pro day today, and Jamar Chase ran a 4.3, which is very impressive. He sat a year out. He opted out for the 2020 season, didn't play, but the year before, in 2019, he was the most prolific receiver in college football. The young man won the Biletnikoff Award, which is given to the best receiver in college football. So anyway, yeah, that's a tough one. It's tough. We haven't seen Jamar in a year, but he is such a special talent. It's hard to go against that kid. But Devontae, come on, man, the Slim Reaper? Are you kidding me? Out there snatching souls. Oh man! Plus he's my little he's my little fraternity brother. So may have to go with my dude, the Slim Reaper. All right. Let me see if I get my man in here, man. Let's see. Where you at? Thanks for those questions. And then if you guys got questions too for my guest, my man David, yeah, get those ready too. It's gonna be a fun session. Let me see if I can get him in here. Yeah, man, oh man, gotta give me some water. So I just got through working out, so I'm gonna have to drink, in between questions and answers. There he is. What's going on, brother?
What's up, Dad?
Hey, can you hear me? You good? You got a good connection? Can you hear me?
All right. Can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear. You're coming through good. Can you hear me?
Okay. So, yeah, it was a little delay there, but now it's all good.
You good now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Well, listen, let me before we dive into this, let me introduce you to everybody. Let me tell everybody who we have in front of us. This is, man, David Freeman. He's a health and fitness professional, been in the game for more than 10 years. National digital performer brand manager with Lifetime, the Healthy Way of Life company. Went to Richmond. He's been featured in Men's Health Magazine, Men's Journal. I saw the brother doing a live with Men's Health Magazine, and actually I saw him doing 2 lives. And what really got my attention was the way David or Coach Freeman. How should I address you tonight? Is it Coach Freeman? Or is it David? What do you tell me?
Coach Freezy.
Okay. Coach Freeze. All right. So the way Coach Freeze answered the questions, though, like the workout was good. It was on point. But then I love the way that he answered the questions, because I'm always interested in seeing how a person relays the information to the people that they're talking to. And there's one thing to know a subject matter, but it's a completely different ball game to be able to relay that information to an individual or to a crowd and make that connection. And I just felt that connection when you answered questions. I even chimed in a couple of times just to say, yeah, that's a great answer. And so I reached out and said, Coach, I would love to have you on my IG Live so you can, just coach some people up and give them some wisdom and help us understand our journey in this health, fitness, and wellness world that we're traveling in. So first of all, thank you, brother, for joining our live tonight. I really appreciate this.
Well, I appreciate you, man. Before we even get into it, man, I want to say how grateful I am to be able to be on here with you. I was talking to my football buddies that I played football with at Richmond. You got to understand how you're a legend in our eyes, man, and just to be able to connect with you and be able to share this wealth of knowledge and this, connect as a whole, man. I'm happy to be here.
No, man, well, that means a lot. That means a lot. And mutual respect, brother, for what you're doing and your journey. And I guess we can just kick it off by telling the people, that you come from a background where your dad was in the military and, with your mom, she played a disciplinary role too. Now, at a young age, at a very young age, you were up very early in the morning doing different type of workouts or calisthenics or whatever your dad had you do. Walk us through that. Tell us how old you were, what time you got up, and what did he have you and your sister doing?
Man, I remember it was around the age of 8 or 9, one of the two. I was young. I wasn't 10 yet, I can tell you that much. But it was every morning, my father got both my sister and I up, and we were pulling tires, we were running hills. And at that point, it was fun for us. Granted, most kids would probably hate getting up that early in the morning. We thoroughly enjoyed it, and we just thought this was a way of life because we didn't know anything else at that age, right? And what it was so much more than just us being taught how to, do athletics or be fast or be strong. He was instilling in us at that point in time just the discipline and the consistency of creating a habit. So that's how I started. We were getting up at 5 a.m., running the hills and pulling tires.
Wow, man, that's incredible. That's great. And your dad was in the military. What branch of the military was your father in?
He was in the Army.
Okay. Well, thank him for his service. We appreciate that.
For sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So you were in North Carolina. You were, you were an athlete. You played sports. You played football. Things didn't work out because of injuries, and you found yourself at one point, kind of, I guess, maybe at a crossroad, but you were alone, right? And you were alone. You had a lot of time to think and reflect. Walk us through that time period when you were trying to make that transition from what do I do next in my life? Where were you, and what was your mindset at that point?
Yeah, so coming from Fayetteville, it was a strong foundation just coming from that city. And what you're talking about now is post-college. I was overseas in Denmark and France, and that was the first time that I was isolated from a lot of the distractions. So whether it's my parents, my friends, my family in general, social media, so all the things that we have at our fingertips right now was not right there in front of me. And I was able to really dive into who I was and come into my identity and be able to bring that to life. So I did the most journaling, the most reading, and just being present for once. And that's how I came across what it was that I should be doing in life.
And so you say you started to journal, you started to read, and you ended up coming across what you should be doing in life. Now, we talked, you said that, you were a natural at explaining things. Just, you would talk to like the receivers and you would show them different techniques, even though you were a running back. Walk me through, like, I guess some of the lessons or some of the techniques that you taught them at an early point before you even became a fitness coach or a fitness instructor. And then what made you say, you know what? I think I can make a career of this. I think I can do this.
Yeah, so what I ended up doing, a lot of the team members over there in France, they were looking at my speed, they were looking at my strength, and they were saying, how do we get to that level? How do we do a lot of these things? And keep in mind, it started at a very early age for me, whether it was working out early and doing weightlifting and conditioning and things of that nature. So when I had the opportunity to show them what I've been doing my whole life, it was second nature. And what I ended up seeing is, because it was a language barrier, as you mentioned. So I'm in France, so therefore I'm not fluent in French. But the one thing that was universal was movement and then music. So a lot of the body language, a lot of what it is that they were asking, I was able to show. And that was translated over to the field. And we actually started to win some games. And that's when I had that aha moment, because granted I was not a receiver, or granted I might not have been a defensive lineman, the fundamentals as far as football, footwork, how to get up, how to get down, how to, you know, position yourself to get away from somebody. A lot of those things are very similar. So I was able to show that, and they were able to showcase it on the field, which yielded wins.
Yeah, little did they know. See, your story reminds me of, like, you know, you down there in North Carolina, you like some old country boy who's doing all this, you know, just, you got that old country boy strength. And that probably just blew their mind. Like, where does this guy get all this strength from? Why is he so strong? Where does he get this endurance? You know, old country boy getting up at 5 a.m., pulling tires, running hills. You remind me of Bo Jackson when I talked to Bo.
I wish I got some years like Bo Jackson too, man. But no, that means a lot. I would say this though, like,
yeah,
I might have not been the strongest, I might have not been the fastest, but my work ethic is what got me to the next level, and my mindset. So I always approached any and everything like that. And my pops, you know, my moms, they always say, it's like, you might be working hard, but it's someone out there working harder. So I always kept that at the forefront of my mind, so I didn't ever get comfortable.
Got you. I got you. So now at this point, you know that you're onto something, and you say, okay, I think I want to go ahead and dive into this. Now, I know that you love to read, you love to educate yourself, you like to be kept up to speed about what's new and what's current. Tell us about your journey to becoming a fitness coach. You know, we talked about when you had an interview and the first one didn't go so well, but then you had the second one, which I think is important because people need to understand, like, things just don't happen as scripted all the time. But that doesn't mean you should quit or you should give up. Keep fighting, keep, you know, going after what it is that you want to accomplish. So can you walk us through that?
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad you actually said that. I tell people all the time, I've heard no way many more times than I've heard yes.
Yeah.
So I will say this, the first time I heard no from not being picked on a team was in that first interview. Okay. And I kind of mentioned to you, I played football, ran track, and been in sports, and education was a very strong foundation throughout my life. When it came to being picked on teams, I was always, whether it was number one or number two, I was always picked. So for the first time to be told, you might not be a good fit for our team, I took that as a slap in the face. But at the same time, since I had such a strong foundation and mindset, I knew that that one no was just going to make me that much stronger. So I did. I called my boy. His name's Cliff Coke. I called him up, and he just laid into me as far as what it is that I need to go into these interviews with, versus my conditioned mindset of just telling so forward and just telling people my whole life story. And he told me, go in there saying the things that the business wants to hear. How can you help contribute and make the business a better place for the members there? So I went down the street, 5 minutes, same company, and interviewed with, not knowing at that point in time, the regional manager. And within 10 minutes of that conversation, I was hired, and I never looked back.
I tell you, you know, that's a wonderful story of just being resilient. And then, you know, another part of that story that I love is that you reached out to somebody. Like, I think that oftentimes, you know, maybe because of embarrassment or what have you, we don't like to reach out to people and tell them about our failures. But when you go out and you reach out and you seek counsel from people, you know, you never know. It may turn around that whole situation like it did for you, which was very wise that you reached out to your friend. And he's like, man, you're going about this all the wrong way. You kind of talking about yourself, but they want you to talk about the business and how you can help their company. So those are two very good lessons that you just spoke about.
Yeah, I take a page out of your book because I did my homework obviously as well. And you said seek mentorship, not money. And when you think of us as males, we're so calloused. You know, we can't show emotion. We can't be vulnerable. Yeah. So when we want to think of reaching out to somebody, we think it's a sign of weakness. But the reality is that is a strength to be able to ask for help, because there's so many people who are struggling mentally right now. And as males, we don't want to reach out and ask for help. So I don't ever hesitate when it comes to me needing help, because I know that in itself is a superpower, being able to be vulnerable and being able to tap into whether it is male figures or female figures to help elevate you.
No, and that's great. That's a great message. And you just talked about something too that I wanted to ask you about. You said about where we are mentally because of the current situation. And I know you're big on mental fitness. Please describe or define what mental fitness means to you and what your approach is.
Yeah, mind right, body right. And what I mean by that is the way you think dictates the way you act, which yields the results that you get.
Absolutely.
So when I think of what's in between our ears right now, this right
Yeah.
here is usually what prevents us from getting from point A to point B. But what the world tends to focus on is the physical element. I'm going to go do the workout. I'm going to go do X, Y, and Z. I'm going to go lift. I'm going to go run.
Right.
But if you don't understand the why behind why you're doing those things, it's going to be an end result of like, why am I doing this once you thought you were doing what you thought you should be doing? So the mindset is so strong, and I hyper focus on mental health because I just know it will yield the physical benefits that you want from physical fitness.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And I love the fact that you talked about, whatever you think, whatever the mind can think is what you're going to do physically. And I believe that wholeheartedly. Mental health and mental fitness is something that has become a big topic. It's a big issue. Like, how do you approach that with your clients? Say you have a client that mentally is dealing with that obstacle of anxiety and doesn't know or isn't really comfortable yet in trying to take that first step towards their mental health or their mental fitness. What do you do? Give me some sort of example of something that you've been able to do to help a client overcome that obstacle.
Yeah, what I do is I break down those walls and barriers because it's a barrier that's put in between us right now, and it's a lot of intimidation. And once again, they're being vulnerable, so they 9 times out of 10 don't want to let you in because trust has not yet been established. So what I do is I try to find a happy medium or a common ground of something that makes them comfortable. So usually people are comfortable about talking about their family or their profession or something that they like to do.
Okay.
So when they tell me those things, I start to draw the parallels to how I'm now going to get to their why behind health and fitness. So what happens there is I'm starting to create a relationship through communication. And now that they see that I am not somebody that you need to be intimidated by, but instead, okay, this person wants to know why I'm here and what my end result of what it is that I'm trying to get. So once that barrier comes down, that they were anxious at one point in time, you now see their shoulders relax. You now see some smiles come from them. And now they start to open up a little bit. And what I tend to tell them is understand that this is a journey. This is not a one-all, you're going to get this in a month and then you'll be done. This is a journey, a lifelong journey. You're going to continue to evolve through this journey. What you want at the age of 22 is different from what you want at the age of 32. So understand the journey, that mental and physical journey that you're about to go through. And once they get that aha moment, it's usually no looking back after that.
Got you. And that's very key. And I think that comes across too in your messages and the way that you address people. Because like I said, when I watched the Q&A, there was just like this instant connection. You were very relatable and the information was very practical. I'd like you to share like some of your functional pillars of health. What are some of your functional pillars of health?
Yeah, the 4 pillars. So y'all get your notebooks out. So the 4
take notes,
pillars.
y'all. Take notes.
Yeah, foundationally, you can always go back to this. It's going to be sleep, nutrition, management of stress, and movement or exercise. And when you break them down, each vital, you need sleep, right? No matter how hard you work out in the gym, if you don't have sleep, it's diminished results. Because when you're working out, you're breaking down muscle. When you're sleeping, you're recovering and building muscle. And what people focus on so much, once again, is the feel of what the workout is doing for them. I'm sweating. I can see my muscles coming through my shirt. I can start to see my six-pack. So they automatically associate the result to the 1 hour a day that they're dedicating to working out. But if you break that down from a mathematical equation here, right? We got 7 days in a week, and if you work out every day, that's 7 hours within a day. But you got 168 hours within a week. And when you look at the sleep, the nutrition, and the management of stress, that's going to be consumed with those other hours. So now you can kind of see how small of a piece of the puzzle the movement is. And if you can get in check those other 3, the sleep, the nutrition, and the management of stress, the game is yours.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you hit on that first because like many of us, especially like, former athletes, I believe that we're conditioned to wear that, you know, that team no sleep, or I can do this on just X amount of hours of sleep. Like we can, you know, we can perform, or we can operate under maybe 3, 4 hours sleep, and we will wear that like a badge of honor. You know what I
Yep.
mean? It's the most, and as I got older, it's like the most ridiculous thing. You know what I mean? So I'm so happy you hit on that first, because I never imagined that it was that important. Now, of course, you know, your coaches, you got room check and all that stuff. They want to make sure you're in your room to sleep. But you're in your room, but you ain't sleeping. You know, you may be playing
Nope.
video games, you may be watching a movie or whatever. Yeah, so I'm really happy that you hit on that, because now there are a lot of like apps and things of that nature. So now you can really track your sleep, because it's just that important. So thank you for hitting on sleep, because it's so important for everybody.
Yeah. I like the comparison you use it, and the difference between when we were in college and we can operate off of 3, 4 hours of sleep, our body can bounce back.
Right.
Right. But nowadays, like you said, as we get a little bit wiser, I don't want to say older, as we get wiser,
Absolutely.
the body responds differently.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So you talked about the sleep. You said, and this is something that I saw you address too on the IG live that you did, in the stress management. Talk about that too, and in nutrition, obviously.
Yeah. So let's talk about the stress management. I'll start there, because there's so many different things that you can look at as far as managing stress. Yep. And you have when you work out, that is a form of stress. When you're talking to your kids about how they need to do X, Y, and Z around the house, that is a form of stress. You and your wife not seeing eye to eye, that's a form of stress. You got dishes to put up, that's a form of stress. So you have all these different stress bubbles, right?
Yep.
How you approach it is the game changer, right? And that's why I always look at how you plan out your week, and that structure matters, because it can help minimize a lot of the stress. Yeah. The last thing you want is for something to pop up that you're not aware of and you're not prepared for. Now it's going to elevate that level of stress. You got these happy kids coming over to you saying, "Hey, Dad, I haven't seen you all day. I miss you." And now they get this level of stress from you that comes out of your mouth, and now they're feeling the stress that you're feeling. So if you plan accordingly to how your day, how your week is marked out, that is going to be a game changer in itself. So structure. You got yoga. You can take a minute out of your day, control breathing, go for a walk. You kind of hinted earlier today as far as doing something like a journal, right? Got my notes here, you know, right. Journaling, reflecting on your day. So many different ways you can manage that stress.
Got you. And then the other piece is nutrition. And I think that, you know, nutrition, if you meal plan, that can also eliminate a lot of stress too. Because sometimes you stress like, okay, what am I going to eat for lunch? Especially when you quarantine, you know, you're in the house all day. What am I going to eat for dinner? Like, that's an added stress. But if you meal prep, then that can eliminate that stress. How do you approach the nutrition part of this piece?
The same way, the structure piece at the beginning of the week. So I know what's in, the refrigerator, or what's in the pantry. And then if I know coming into the week, if I don't have those things, it's going to add a level of stress, because now I have to go out and get them. So people usually cringe at, man, I don't got the time to do it. Trust me when I say it doesn't take as long as you think. And the more you do it, the more efficient you become with it. You just got to step on the track and start to run, though. That is the same approach. You got to start. So once people start to actually start, you kick it off on that Sunday, I guarantee your week will become smoother and smoother the weeks coming.
Got you. And then obviously the final piece of the puzzle is the exercise. And I think that is so important. And it's just not the exercise where you go out there and you're breaking the sweat like, you know, you're playing 10 games of basketball. Talk about the exercise piece and just how different it is for different people at different stages of their lives, but what they need to do to stay active.
Yeah. I say 30 minutes a minimum a day. All right. Okay. If you're super advanced, you know what your body can tolerate. But if you're just getting started, I want to say to you, 30 minutes a day. Start there. Get out, whether it is a walk, a jog, a run, 30 minutes a day. Once you start to get the baseline of the mechanics of the consistency there, right, then you can start to add the intensity. Also, if it yields to you and you actually can afford it, right, you financially can afford it, get with a coach. All of the best have coaches.
Right.
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 And it's nothing like having a coach to help provide a game plan that we both align on, but also the support system, right? The accountability, the responsibility, all those different things come alive. And I use this acronym CARE, right? As a coach, I'm going to be able to communicate to you. Accountability is on you. Responsibility is on me to keep you accountable to yourself. And then the E is the empowerment. So C for communication, A for accountability, R for responsibility, and E for empowerment. That lets you know that I care for you as a coach.
Man, and you made me just really switch gears. I was going to ask you about something else, but then you mentioned empowerment. And I know you have, like, I believe it's the 3 E's. Could you share with us your 3 E's? Because I did my homework too, sir.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, the 3 E's. Elevate, empower, and evoke. All right, yes, so a lot of times what we tend to do is you start to get in this limelight, if you will, and then you forget about the whole reason why you're in that limelight and how you got there and all the people who helped get you there. So the number one piece as far as elevating, me as a self, now that I know who I am and what it is that I'm supposed to be doing here, what I want to do is elevate any and everybody who is hungry for more and wants to become the best version of themselves. So they come into that light with me, and I elevate them to whatever platform that they need. And then the next piece is empowering them with the experience and knowledge that I have, and then make it and have them make that their own. And then that next step is evoke. The change is now evoked, and they can take that experience and share it with somebody else.
Got you. And you also said that, you know, you feel as though that your job is to help your clients discover what's already inside them. And when I hear you talk about those 3 E's, it seems like that's kind of like the path in which you use to help them discover what's inside them. Am I correct?
Yes, it's called maximizer. So I call that my super strength, right? My superpower. Maximizer is an individual who's able to tap into you with something that already exists and make that come to the surface and make you aware of it. So each one of us has something unique about us. And what we need to be able to do is tap into that uniqueness to give back to this world. And that'll be a game changer for our world.
Got you. And you also talked about now how you go about doing things. I've checked your Instagram out. You have physical activities with your children. So besides instilling in them being physically fit, what else are some of the, I guess, principles that you try to instill in your 2 beautiful children, your little boy and your little girl?
Yeah, they have a mantra every morning, every night, and they say it. You know, I'm smart, I'm strong, you know, I'm beautiful, and I can do anything. And our last name, Freeman. Freeman means special. And then I also I added this one on after Black Panther passed. We do our little Wakanda deal, and we end up saying, "What's your superpower?" And they both respond, you know, being black. I said, okay, what does that mean? And they say, I can do anything I put my mind to. And that's what I always want them to know is regardless. And that's for anybody. If you're black, white, you know, Latinx, whatever it may be, Asian, like your superpower is you can do anything that you put your mind to. And don't let anything or anyone tell you that your skin color is a limitation.
Right. No, which is very important because, you know, I'm a father of 3 children too, and I'm raising, and they're black, and I understand like how society has defined that for them. So it's imperative for us as parents to redefine that for them so they can understand that, yeah, you can do anything that you put your mind to. Not, you know, you're not limited by any stretch of the imagination by your color. So that was a very important point. And I remember during your IG live too, you had said that there are pictures of you and your wife around that area where you were working out. It might have been the garage area, but it was where you were working out. You said it's important for my children to see pictures of myself, to see pictures of my wife, who was an Olympian herself in her own right, to see the greatness of their parents, which I thought was a tremendous effing answer. And I would curse, but I got a little twin running, so I can't drop the F-bomb. But on IG, I wrote that like that was a tremendous effing answer for them to see the images of their parents like that. I'm like, what the F you want them to have posters of? Other athletes, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I thought that was, you know, so man, kudos to you and your wife for adopting that mentality and instilling that in your young children, brother.
Yeah, representation. To your point, it matters. You can see it behind me right now. One of our idols right here with Muhammad Ali and what he meant. Right, so like the representation matters, and for them to be able to see it, we normalize it for them versus them seeing it every now and then. And that's the part, as far as that's so empowering, when you start to see people who look like you at this level. It gives you that sense of hope and that hunger for more.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And I thought that was a tremendous answer. And that's something that, man, it hit me. It hit me in the heart. Now, something to give me some fitness principles that you can apply for everybody. Now, we talked about, you said the baseline. Listen, 30 minutes of some sort of movement a day, which I think is tremendous. About how many days a week would you suggest that a person do that?
3. It's something about the number 3 that I've seen that has won over the years. 3 days a week. And the reason why I say 3 versus 2, some people will say 2 instead, is because if you break down those 3 days a week, right, you have the other 4 days to kind of figure out, all right, if I'm not able to get to this, I can do this. You still have the structure behind it. So if you can do 3 days a week, that's going to give you a great kickstart to be able to increase, because you're not going to decrease. You're only going to go up from there. So if you can start off with 3, guess what? The next level is 4, and that's going to be over 50% of your week.
Okay. All right. I like that. I was smiling because little twins. So I have twin boys. I have a daughter too. I have twin boys, and little twin is the one who runs this whole thing. Like, I just sit in the seat. Sometimes he actually picks the album. He does the lighting, so he handles the questions, right?
Right.
And so little twin, he's a funny guy. He's a funny guy. All my kids are funny. Yeah. He said, "Who's faster, Desmond or Freezy?"
Oh Lord.
I will let him know right now. Freezy would beat Desmond. Hell, before I did this, I was working out, Coach Freezy, and check this out. I was doing reverse lunges with 45-pound dumbbells in my hands. And I started to feel like a little tweak in my left knee. I'm like, all right, I'm about to cut that out. I'm good. And I ain't lying to you, brother. And what popped in my head is I already had surgery on my knee. Actually, both of them for my meniscus. I've torn my meniscus in both knees. And I'm like, man, I'm not at an age where I'm trying to have another surgery. So it's important. It's important for all of us. I always emphasize this. It's very important to listen to your body.
Yes. And that's funny that you say that, because what we have the imposter syndrome. You can see the images in the back, and we go back to those playing days like, oh, I got this, because that memory and that nostalgic vibe. And I could tell a story that's very similar, but mine ended a little bit more tragically. But my wife, she obviously challenged me in a race, and keep in mind she was a 100-meter sprinter. So she got a great start and she can hold it. I mean, but the ego got in the way. And we were out there on the track. I was not properly warmed up. You know how we could just bounce off whatever and do whatever when we were 20 and whatnot. And I came out the block. She came out the blocks a few times. I got her once. She got me once. And then we were like, all right, here goes the last one. We put it on camera. Everybody's watching. Right? And about 3 steps in, right hamstring. 2nd-degree tear, man. And everybody, the thing is, I was so mad at myself because I knew better.
Yeah.
But guess what? She got in my head.
That mental fitness, brother.
You got to have the mental fitness. Exactly.
Oh, man. Yeah, no. And you have to listen, that whole mentality that you talk about, being a former athlete and, pushing through things, it actually caused some damage to myself too. I was at a Super Bowl event, and I got this like home TRX system. So it's a TRX system for the home. And this is like when they first came out, right? And so I take this thing home, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it. And so, the TRX is a suspension system, right?
Yep.
So I hook it up, and it has like a DVD with it, and it gives you different workouts for different body parts. And so now I'm looking at these workouts, and it said full body workout, 47 minutes. I'm like, I can do a full body workout in 47 minutes. Done. Sign me up. Okay, so I take it, I hook it up into the door or whatever, and I started doing this workout. So I'm cool that must have been a Monday. I'm cool Monday. I'm cool Tuesday. I'm sorry, that's a Monday evening. I'm cool Tuesday. Wednesday, and my sons, they were in elementary school. I take them to school. Coach Freezy, I drop them off. I go to about to just start to run to my car, just a light jog to my car. And as I'm about to turn to my right, my back just spasmed up on me, just really tight. I'm talking about, Coach, I'm talking about the type that just stops you in your tracks.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
I'm like, what the
Take
hell?
your breath away.
Yeah, so I'm in, so I go and I got this guy. He has like a mobile chiropractic type of business, and so I call him, and I go see him. So I'm talking to the chiropractor. He said, have you done anything different lately? I said, nah, not really. I said, well, a couple of days ago, I did this little TRX system thing I got, and that's about it. He said, oh, that's it. He said, that's definitely the problem. I said, really? He said, yeah. He said, yeah, it's a TRX system. He said, because, it's just the movements on that your body and everything is suspended. So you don't have any support. So I go and I talk to this woman who's a Pilates instructor, and she's breaking down to me like how it is. Like, she's like, listen, when you were, training, whether it's in Michigan or NFL team, like you guys had like back support. When you're doing bench presses or things of that nature, you have back support. She explained to me how when you're in the TRX system, if your form isn't right on point, you can compromise your back.
Yep.
And what happened, so I tell the story to say, so if I'm doing 12, if it says do 12, and I'm at 8, and 8 is getting really hard, and now I'm at 10, and 10 is hard as hell, but the mentality is I'm about to fight through these next two. But when you fight through those next two, what's compromised is your form.
Yep.
Anytime you have to struggle and stuff like that, you compromise your form. And I tell you what, and to this day, brother, I told this Pilates instructor, you can have this thing. I lived long enough without this. You can have this TRX system. I don't need it. And I'm telling you, it messed up my L4, L5, and X1 and S1. And to this day, I still have to be really conscious of that no matter what I'm doing.
Yes. Hey, you hit the nail on the head. So funny story, because I actually a senior level TRX instructor. So I did a lot of certification classes. So this is when it first came out, right? And that was the #1 thing. Your core is on all the time, regardless of the movement, right?
Yeah.
And people usually associate core to just your abs, but so obliques, your lower, it's the whole belt, right?
Exactly.
And the beautiful part about it, as a coach watching, you can actually see where the mechanics might be compromised.
Absolutely.
Versus if you're by yourself and you got the mindset of an athlete, you see the number 12, you doing 12. Right? How do you get to 12? And to your point, I like this. Write it down, guys, if y'all listening. You got to have the mechanics first.
Yeah.
And you got to be consistent with those mechanics. And then and only then can you have the intensity. So mechanics, consistency, intensity. And what we tend to do, and I'm even us, we fall victim to it too, because we go back to that mindset of I can do this because I did it before. Right. The reality is, it's just like anything new. Your body has to learn the mechanics first, and that I'm assuming that was the first time touching it, and then boom, it kind of gave you that humble pie.
Absolutely. No. Hey, make sure y'all write that down now. Mechanics, consistency, intensity. Don't forget, because that's paramount no matter what you do. Like, that's a rule of thumb no matter what exercise you're doing. And the crazy thing, Coach, is that at the end of the disc, it had like a split screen, and it showed you the correct form and the incorrect form, which is banana. I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. Like, I was so good. Bro, I gave it away. But the thing is, like, if I had someone with me like yourself who's certified, who can correct the mistakes that I'm doing in my posture, then I'd been fine. But like I said, it was a take-home thing, and they had the disc. But man, yeah, that was crazy. That was a crazy experience, brother.
Yeah, I tell people all the time the value in having somebody who lives within this profession, and that's the beautiful part about a lot of what we have in jobs around the world. It's just like I hear this comparison a lot. Can I change my oil? Can I change, the filters and do this and that? I probably could read a manual and figure it all out. But if I know somebody who's efficient and this is their craft and this is their passion, I'm going to take it to an expert because I know the result that I'm going to get from it. And then they can also inform me and educate me. And then maybe eventually if I want to make it mine, then I can do it on my own. But it's something about having a coach that changes the game.
No doubt about that. I'm glad you mentioned that because you talked earlier about getting a coach or getting someone to help you. And what I wanted to ask you about was online coaching. Like, to me, it doesn't even have to be in person nowadays. Because of the pandemic, I've seen how online coaching has really taken off. And I wanted to ask you about online coaching, where it is now, and where do you see it in the future? Is it a passing phase, or you think it's here to stay? Where do you see online coaching in the future?
Y'all quote me on this date. All right. We got March 31st, 2021. Digital coaching. Yeah. Digital coaching is here to stay. It's not gonna remove the bricks and mortar in person. It's just going to be another layer. And I like it because it can eliminate the excuse. All right. Usually I'm traveling or I'm not going to be able to make it. But guess what? I got a digital program that can travel with you. So the beautiful part that came out of the pandemic is it's always been around, but we didn't have to hyper focus on it because in-person connections was not eliminated. So it allowed us to innovate. And in my opinion, once again, we went to a place of isolation, right? And that's the same comparison that I gave you guys at the beginning when I was isolated from a lot of the distractions. You got one of 3 C's going on, right? You're either consuming, and a lot of us were consuming in that time. We were just looking, scrolling, trying to figure out stuff. If you take that consumption and you now go into a place that you can connect to it, that's the second C. Then from that connection, you can now create it and make it to your own, and that's where the creativity comes about. So nothing wrong with the consumption right now of the digital space. But at some point in time, you got to be able to connect to it as a coach, as a trainer, as a member. And then the creativity comes about. So the reason why it's here to stay is because of the innovation behind technology. And the more and more that we can get people moving, the more a net that I can cast out and touch more lives and change people's lives, we're set up for success. We're going to reverse what we're currently in. We have a lot of people with metabolic risk factors going on, heart disease, stroke. And now we can now eliminate the excuse of why you're not able to do certain things through a digital platform. And
I was just about to say that too. Digital coaching starts to eliminate a bunch of excuses. And I always tell people, #no excuses, baby. Let's get it done. Now, there's one thing you hit on another thing I wanted to ask you about. It was an acronym that you used, and it was CARE. And one thing that jumped out to me was listening to you talk on the live and listening to a couple of podcasts. Like, there's a humility about you. There's a humility about you that you just want to help people. Like, you genuinely want to help people. And I had another guy who I talked to about that too, which I just think is a beautiful thing. Where did that come from? Like, you got this humbleness about you where it comes across as you want to help people. And when you say about CARE, like, it made sense that you use that sort of acronym for what you're doing. Where does that come from?
I keep going back to what my parents did for my sister and I. They cared so much about how to set us up for life to be successful, and successful in my eyes is happiness and the structure to be able to function in this world. So since they, gave us that gift, I feel it's only right for me to reciprocate to the world the blessing that I got. So for me to be able to touch so many different individuals' lives and know that I had a piece of helping change something in their lives for the positive, and now they can take that experience and share it with somebody else, that's what moves me, and that's why I love doing it.
No, that's a beautiful reason, and it comes across. And I'll tell you what, I think that's what helps you be able to connect with people the way that you do. I mean, it's obvious, it's apparent, and when I hear people talk about you when you're on a podcast and doing an interview, like even some of the guys who you went to school with, and the way they talk about you, can tell, like, okay, this is instilled in him. It's genuine and it's sincere, and it's a beautiful trait to have, brother.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Now, little twin just told me that we only have time for a couple more questions. So one question I have to ask you is just, what's one part of your health, fitness, and wellness routine? One part of your routine that you cannot live without?
Man, that's a good question. My routine that I can not live without.
Yeah, one part, just one part of your health, fitness, and wellness routine that you cannot live without.
All right, hopefully it sounds right what I throw at you. It would be my approach to each one of my workouts.
Okay.
And the reason why is because it is some days that I get up and I'm just like, man, I can lay back down.
Right. We all got those days.
Yeah. And it's something about when I go into the space of where I'm going to work out and I throw those headphones on and how I can literally zone out and go into this place of just that nobody can touch me. And my approach to the workout of how I'm going to attack it and defeat it, that's the one thing that, I can't live without is that mindset and my approach towards the workout. And that's life too. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great answer because it all starts with the mindset. If the mindset's not right, nothing's going to go right at that point. So I agree with you 110% with that. That's an excellent answer. Now I know that you're like I said, I did homework. I know you're like myself. You're a Michael Jackson fan.
Yes, sir.
Really love MJ. So tonight, if you have time, first of all, you gotta have these headphones that got wires on them, like. Not the wireless headphones and buds and stuff like that. You gotta have actual real headphones with the wire attached. Now, I put it on my Instagram story. That's I have to make sure I tell Coach Freezy about this.
Yeah.
There's a guy. I think it's the session IG live. But anyway, it's on my Instagram story. Tonight, he's gonna break down in the way you've never ever heard before in your life. I guarantee you, Michael Jackson's Smooth Criminal.
Okay.
And the best way to hear it is if you have a pair of these, some headphones with a wire attached. I'm telling you, it will blow your mind. So it's on my Instagram story. So if you look, it's right there. The guy, I believe is the Session IG Live is his name. But yeah, check that out. And
hey, I'm always prepared. I'm always prepared.
Good. Yeah, you good. And everybody else, check it out, especially if you're a Michael Jackson fan. It will blow your mind. It's incredible what he does with music. It's incredible. But let everybody know how they can get in contact with you. And thanks again, bro. This has been fantastic. But let everybody know how they can get in contact with you, how they can reach you.
Yes, sir. I want to thank you again, and it definitely was a pleasure. So I appreciate you. If you want to get at me at Freezy30, so FREEZY30. Hit me up if you ever got a question. I'm always here, and trust me when I say I'll respond to everybody. So I would love to hear from you guys. And once again, Desmond, thank you for having me.
Hey, I'll tell you what, Brother David, and if you need me, you got my number. I do the podcast. Just let me know when you want me to do it. It would be an honor to do a podcast with you, brother. So just reach out and let's keep this going.
It's crazy. My co-host, Jamie Martin, just actually made a comment, and we were talking about you being on the podcast. So she now has a confirmation from you right there. I love it.
Done deal. Brother, listen, man, this has been fantastic. I was excited about this all week, man. Enjoy the rest of your week. And if you need me, you know where to find me, brother.
All right, I appreciate you. Mind right, body right, y'all. Be good.
Yes, sir. All right, now. Okay, everybody. So, man, that was a fantastic. I hope you guys took notes. I took notes. Like I was taking notes. I mean, he had some great nuggets, some things that I would use to help me through, my fitness journey and wellness journey. And I hope you guys will too. Man, kudos to my guy. That was fantastic. That was fantastic. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Listen, but like I was telling Coach Freezy tonight. Go just look at my story. I believe his handle is the Session IG Live or something like that. The Session IG Live. I believe that's it. Yeah. But anyway, it's in my story. Michael Jackson, Smooth Criminal. Yeah, it's like the Wellness Wednesday after party. Listen, everybody, enjoy the rest of your week. Thanks for checking me out. And God willing, see you next week. All right? Have a good one. Peace.